One second, folks. Gotta move the page. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, the usual disclaimers. All right, folks, if you all, are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find the pertinent links all there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to Judge Rotenberg Educational Center's so called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center feels so threatened by this particular article, they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. So, folks, please read that article, share it on all your social media. You're going to find their public statement linked in there in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding in case the JRC sees through with their threat. Trigger warning 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center and Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is advised, all right? All right. Where we left off. States, not the federal government, traditionally have regulated the practice of medicine. Here we go again. It's this insane idea that they seem to have that the FDA is trying to regulate the practice of medicine by banning this device. It's a simplistic and categorically false statement. Because the actual fact of the matter is that the federal government interferes in regards to medicine all the time. In particular, if there is a particular drug on the market that causes infinitely more harm than good, the federal government reserves the right to remove that drug from circulation. If, for example, as I've been using as an analogy, a doctor prescribes crack cocaine as a preventative for depression, the federal government, as it is an illegal substance, has the right to interfere. If you are talking about a particular device that puts patients in the ER with second to third degree burns, especially in regards to the fact that places like the JRC are receiving students from different states, states that actually ban the practice of aversive therapy in all its forms, this argument doesn't hold water because this isn't a public school. It is a private entity. And if we are going to speak on technical terms, the students that are coming in from different states should be protected under their state laws. But that's not what's going on at the JRC. But let's continue to read this Republican psychobabble. Choosing what treatments are or not appropriate for a particular condition is at the heart of the practice of medicine. Indeed, Massachusetts has taken a very active role in regulating the center's use of the electric stimulation devices. That is false, sir. That is a lie. If the state of Massachusetts actually exercised their right to authority in regards to these devices, the consent decree that the JRC holds over the Massachusetts courts and their Department of DMH, like the sword of Damocles, would not be able to be used as an argument. Nobody's coming in and telling the state of Massachusetts what it can and can't do in regards to medicine. The question is the GED medicine or is it torture? There have been other practices that used to be used in the past that have been banned federally in regards to the practice of medicine. Your argument is false. Your argument is categorically wrong. Bye bye, see you later. In regards to their so-called regulations in regards to device, there is none. What you have, what they won't tell you, is that if the judge rules that they can use the device, they do so with impunity. There is actually no protection for these kids. None. None. Because if the state was actually caring about these kids' rights and their safety, then you wouldn't have multiple death reports of them inside Massachusetts ERs. Again, evidence that was cited in the 2020 ban decision by the FDA that these Republican judges didn't even care to look over before they came out with this word salad garbage we're reading. Therefore, we would permit the FDA to dictate whether practitioners may administer electrical stimulation therapy to self-injuring aggressive patients. We would require an explicit statement from Congress to that effect. Okay, so you're telling me that the FDA has to get an explicit statement from Congress to protect disabled kids. You want to get constitutional? Let's get constitutional. Do you believe that disabled kids and adults also have the right to pursue, according to the Constitution and our Declaration of Independence, that you all like to write on that? Do we have the right to the pursuit of freedom and happiness or not? Because if we do, we also have the right to protections. Which means in the case where we can actually prove with medical documents no less that a device prescribed by doctors has caused untold harm to generation after generation after generation of disabled people, with the ER documents to back it up, then the FDA, after viewing such evidence, has the right to ban these devices for our protection. If you believe that we are not actually really humans and that we're not actually protected by the Constitution at all, and that we as disabled people do not have the right to pursue freedom and the pursuit of happiness, then you write out psycho dribble like this to justify your decision. Okay? The fact of the matter is the federal government interferes with the practice of medicine all the time, which is why doctors cannot prescribe crack cocaine, an illegal substance, to be used as a preventative for depression. Your simplistic argument is void. Okay? It is not based in any shape or form of reality of the actual laws on the books. Okay? In this case, we have quite the opposite of an explicit authorization, an explicit statement from Congress that FDA cannot act. Section 396 explicitly limits the power of the FDA. The FDA has no authority to choose what medical devices a practitioner should describe or administer for which conditions. So, according to this Republican bullshit decision, If a doctor prescribes that a machete be used in the place of scalpel in regards to surgery, and the FDA or any type of federal government entity tries to interfere, that they have no right to do so because that's interfering with medicine. Okay? 396 gives the FDA the right to ban any device whatsoever that causes a specific concern of harm. We, the advocates, have provided receipts that have receipts that this GED device has put people in ERs, has put them in states of catatonia, has caused severe forms of PTSD. It causes significant risk of harm. It is in their authority as a government entity to ban such a device outright. To use the argument that they're trying to tailor holds no water, because that device is only used in one singular place for a singular purpose. Therefore, your argument that they can't just tailor the use of it is void. It's also based off of the false premise that the FDA at any point in time has actually approved this device. They have not. The FDA approved of one device back in 1991. All the subsequent versions of the GED that have been produced and used at that school since then has not had any form of FDA approval. You can't tailor something that you've never approved of for use in the first place. Okay? So tell me, how much did the JRC pay you all to write this? We're going to close on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. As always, we here at Spilling Tea will hope you have a good one. I will see you all after work. Bye-bye.